Lecture 8, Narcocorridos. Today we want to discuss an example of narco culture in Mexico, the narcocorrido or the drug ballad. So the main question that we're asking is why are narcocorrido singers, right, that are ostensibly talking about drug trafficking, they're talking about oftentimes violence, they're talking about all these things. Why are they seen as heroes? So, first, we have to define what corridos are, where they come from, and where they've gone. Then, we'll talk about drug trafficking and corridos. And last, hopefully, we'll discuss what it all might mean. So, first, the history of the corrido. We have to periodize uh, in what this, sort of the time in which the corridos were created. The Spanish folk music called romance was an early form of music in Spanish America. Usually it was played with simple music, but it could be accompanied by more embellishment. And so the first period of the corridos is called proto epic ballads from 1875 to 1910. These were usually celebrating the deeds of figures who had been called revolutionary bandits, perhaps closer to oftentimes people that, um, you know, that were doing heroic deeds. Second, the epic ballads, the period of 1910 to 1930. These were the quintessential ballads of the Mexican Revolution, genuinely popular songwriting for people throughout the country, mainly the deeds of revolutionary figures, but also involved in contraband along the border with the United States. For instance, I'll give you a link to a song called Los Tequileros from 1919. It tells the story of smuggling hard alcohol to the United States during the era of Prohibition. Interestingly, this denoted a switch from goods smuggled into Mexico before that to illegal alcohol. The ballad tells of the exploits of several smugglers and their enemies called Los Rinches, the Texas Rangers. What do you notice about the song? Well, there's cultural conflict and heroic deeds. The third period was the post epic ballads, and this came with commercialization. After 1930, increasingly the use of the genre of radio and movies changed the authentic flavor of the ballad. Often, the demands of airtime, which was essentially 3 minutes for a song, or the plot of a movie meant that a song needed to be changed. Another example of this would be Pedro Infante, a very famous Mexican actor from the 1955 movie La Escuela de Música, or the Music School. And the ballad is called Corrido de Monterrey. And you can see in this sort of big show-stopping number, it's part of the plot of a movie, etc. So this brings us up to an important point about the corrido. When scholars talk about the corrido or the ballad, it's basically a form of popular journalism, right? Before the era of television and the internet and even movies, the corrido started as a kind of troubadour music that would tell the exploits of heroic figures, um, deeds done, right, especially during the Mexican Revolution. And the hero always would sort of die in the end. So these were heroes. But what happens when in narco culture today, many narco traffickers even will ask songwriters and sometimes force songwriters to write songs about themselves? Does this change the authentic nature of the corrido itself? The genre of the narco corrido began around the same time people started calling drug runners narco traffickers. And you can see in an example that I'll show you today, the Corrido de Caro Quintero tells the exploits of the guy that is supposedly killed Enrique Camarena, the DEA agent, right? And so this guy is a hero. Caro Quintero is a hero in the song. And so what we have to do is think about why that's the case. Well, I think there's a couple of reasons. One, in many of these songs, The outlaw is a victim of injustice from authorities and is paying back the favor. The outlaw helps common people. The outlaw is sacrificing his life for a political stance sometimes or a way of life. The outlaw does things that the average Joe would love to try if he or she had the courage. And the outlaw's outlandish adventures provide entertainment in the manner of a long running serial. So I want you to think about the narco corrido and why drug dealers can be seen as heroes in many ways that today we consider the anti hero a popular figure within movies and TV shows, and begin to understand and contextualize why heroes or why outlaws can be turned into heroes. That's all I have for you today. Thanks.